And now for more on Trump hinting at military intervention in Nigeria and the reactions it's currently generating globally. We are joined from Washington, D.C. by Arise correspondent Anieze Osakwe. Good morning, Anieze.
Good morning. Can you all hear me and see me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you and see you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Morning.
So tell us, Anieze, you've been in Washington since yesterday. You've been reporting and giving us updates. Can you just share with us, since yesterday, we have spoken from the Nigerian end of things. Can you share with us the U.S. end of things, responses from Washington?
Sorry, Ayo, you cut off there at the end. Do you mind just repeating that question?
Oh, I said that we have spoken extensively this morning on the Nigerian reactions and responses. You've been in Washington and given us updates since yesterday. Can you share with us updates from yesterday in terms of the U.S. reactions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to kind of set the scene and the context of where I am, I mean, I'm literally standing in front of the White House. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a little bit dark. The lights were on about an hour ago, but I have to say that as someone, you know, I used to live in Washington, D.C., but you can always tell whenever the government is shut down because the city is essentially run by government. It's government officials, it's government buildings. So when all of it comes to a standstill, the city itself comes to a standstill. And that's kind of what we've been seeing since we've been here since yesterday. And I say all of this to say that this is the context under which President Trump's comments about Nigeria have come. The fact that, you know, he said he might deploy U.S. troops to Nigeria, the fact that he's designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and the potential of these airstrikes as well. While a lot of, you know, the Ted Cruzes and Republican officials are saying that they're in favor of this, a lot of the reactions here are also kind of questioning why are we doing something like this in an abroad and overseas country when the government is shut down and there seems to be no real direction as to when it may end. It's looking like it might be the longest one in U.S. history. So there's just a lot of questions about why the U.S. seems to want to be even getting involved with something going on in Nigeria while there's so many problems at home. That being said, it's also incredibly expensive to send, you know, U.S. troops abroad. It costs tens of billions of dollars annually to do something like that. Airstrikes, a single airstrike I was reading earlier this morning, can cost about $1 million. But, you know, when we look at all of this in terms of the way President Trump has acted in the past, 2017 in Syria, he ordered this surprise airstrike attack on, after Assad did the chemical weapons attack that killed 80 people, right? And I say that to say that President Trump sometimes acts out of bounds and he doesn't necessarily want, a go-ahead from the Nigerian government. He may act and then tell people after, this is what I've done and this is why I've done it. So we definitely need to be watching the story closely to see how it all unfolds.
Okay, Anieze, aboard Air Force One, I think it was probably yesterday, the president said he will not rule out boots on the... Aboard Air Force One yesterday, when the president was being interviewed, I'm talking about President Trump, he said he will not rule out a possibility of boots on the ground. Can you tell us how plausible that is or not? Because there's a general zeitgeist in America after what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. They don't want American boots on the ground. In fact, they always talk about taking boots out of the ground. Is it just talking? Or you think he means business? Or this is just one of his propaganda-ish things?
That's the thing about President Trump. You never really know whether what you can take what he's saying literally. I mean, at the end of the day, he's clearly expressed that he's listening to Republican lawmakers and officials who feel like there should be boots on the ground. They feel like there should be airstrikes. But at the same time, this is also a day where a lot of American voters are going to the polls. You know, there's the mayor race in New York, and people are really concerned with what's going on at home. I don't think that there's a sense that the U.S. necessarily needs to be getting involved with anything that regards Nigeria. That being said, we know that the Christian conservative right wing is his base, and he's definitely willing to listen to them. So there's this, he's trying to thread that needle between trying to appease the people who voted him into power, but also, what the American voters want. And that's not necessarily to spend tens of millions of dollars to help Nigeria.
Anieze, so do you think this is a possible Christian right-wing distraction for Trump at a time where he's not doing well in the polls? He's just endorsed Mario Cuomo in New York, and he has 2 mayoral races that the Democrats might likely do well. So is this a way to tap into his right-wing base? That's why he's pushing this card about going to save Christians in Nigeria?
Absolutely. I mean, this was who voted him into office, you know, the first time around and for the second time around. So he definitely has, you know, he has their ear and they have his as well. You know, it's a sense that it's kind of a relationship that he wants to maintain, especially as they look towards the midterms next year, especially as people are going to the polls today. I mean, he's definitely listening to what they have to say.
Okay, Anieze, President Trump's approval rating is down to 37%. 63% of Americans, according to one report, disapprove of him. So maybe perhaps he needs to appeal to his evangelical base. But I'm interested in Nigerians. There's a strong Nigerian community in that axis. I lived in that area for about a year, from Washington, D.C. to Maryland to Baltimore. Now, how are ordinary Nigerians within that axis? At least you must have interacted with 1 or 2 of our people who are there. How are those Nigerians taking this? How are they reacting?
It seems like there's a sense that the Nigerian government may not necessarily be doing enough. That being said, I don't think that there's this strong support for this. I think that it's clear that whenever any kind of foreign military intervention happens without a clear cooperation with the government at home, it doesn't necessarily have the best outcomes. There's a sense that from Nigerians in the community that if this is going to move forward, there needs to be that clear communication, coordination, and it's difficult to have that because, as you said, Dr. Abati, there's this void in terms of diplomatic presence for the Nigerian government. You know, we don't have ambassadors, and so much of the conversation around this topic, which is incredibly sensitive, has been taking place over social media. It hasn't necessarily been behind closed doors. It hasn't been through official channels as far as we know. And, you know, there's this sense that if this is going to happen, it will need a proper coordinated effort between both the Nigerian government and the U.S. government as well.
Absolutely true. Proper coordinated efforts. And that's why, again, we emphasize the news that we shared earlier on, which is that the president will be appointing ambassadors as early as next week, and security services have been asked to vet them very swiftly. Thank you so much, Anieze. We look forward to more updates from you from Washington, D.C.